Hello ladies, welcome back. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. More on them a little bit later. So today we're talking about 5 different ways how you can reduce anxiety from your home, your parenting, from just general your home environment. These are things that have definitely helped me on my journey. So we are a family of 5. We've got 3 kids, 17, 11 and 8 now. So I thought this would be a really good time to talk about our journey as parents and how we have eliminated anxiety or panic or screaming or yelling or any of those things that can seem normal when you have children, but they're actually not normal. This is not how other homes and other cultures are, and so we have to stop normalizing this in the United States and think that this is how it's supposed to be. So number one, thing I would advise you to kind of like look at or reevaluate is your food choices, your family's food choices. There's things that we have evolved to eat that make us feel nourished, make us feel good, make us feel energetic, make us feel calm. And then there's food-like products and things that disrupt our natural way of being, our gut microbiome, our hormones, and they actually put us in anxiety. So whatever that means for you, do your research, start learning about what the Homo sapien diet is, what we have evolved to learn to eat. Think of it this way: if there is a animal living in a zoo and the animal starts behaving out of norm, it starts shedding hair or getting angry or violent or acting unusual, the first thing they do is they go and they look at its diet to make sure that it's eating how it used to eat when it was not at the zoo. Well, we are just highly evolved species, right? Like we're from the animal kingdom, and so when we disrupt our diet the way we suddenly have due to human progression, that's gonna have some consequences. So this is something that we have noticed. I mean, we've been having this conversation with our kids for many years, over a decade, where my children would come back from school before they were homeschooling and they would say that the most disruptive kids in the class also have the worst diets. They're constantly drinking sodas and all kinds of things with caffeine in them and sugar in them, and then they were very disruptive. So it goes hand in hand. So I would really make this a priority in your life to see what kind of foods you and your family are eating and what effect those foods are having on your family's health.
A quick break to talk about our sponsors.
So if you have been following my journey, then you know how important and foundational inner work has been for my success. And this is where BetterHelp comes in, because I have actually personally used BetterHelp as part of my own inner work and healing. And the reason I went with them was many reasons. One was I didn't have to leave my house and I could just, sign up with a therapist online. Also, they match you with a therapist, and within the first 24 hours, I was literally on a call with a therapist. So you can choose your therapist based on your personal needs, your language, the type of therapy that you prefer. If you use my link, you get 10% off of the first month. So make sure that you do take advantage of that. Number 2 is reduce the number of problems that you have. I know that when you're in it, you think that everything is a problem, but make a list, like sit down as a family and make a list of things that are actually considered problems in your household, and then everything else, like let it slide, let it be, evolve out of it. I know that when I used to be in that high anxiety mode, before I had done my inner work and changed my diet and all that stuff, everything seemed like a problem. Like if someone spilled something, that was a problem. If someone was late, that was a problem. And now, I mean, it sounds funny even saying it, but that was just my natural way of being. And so it was just like all these little fires that needed to be put out throughout the day. And looking back, it's like none of that mattered, right? So reduce the number of problems you have by sitting down and actually becoming conscious of what is an actual problem that your family considers something worth panicking over and worrying about, and then everything else, let it slide. Number 3 is declutter, declutter, declutter. We do not need as much stuff as we currently have and live with. It creates a lot of anxiety for us. Again, this goes back to our evolutionary history. We used to be fairly nomadic and we used to be able to get up and move around. And now, yes, we have settled down and we've got homes and we've got, 2.5 car garages and all this stuff. But really, my family in the last decade have gone through this whole journey and really evaluating how many things we have. We have a one in, one out kind of process now after going through our decluttering journey years ago, where we're very mindful of what we bring in, how easy will it be to get rid of it. We keep our things for a really, really long time until they really literally wear out. And we also have people literally in our phone on call of people we can call when we're done with things that want to take them off our hands. There's services that you can call, there's people that you might know, so that there isn't so much waste creation and things have a home to go to. It makes you more mindful when you're shopping too. That's why I only shop for really, really great quality things now, because I know I'm going to keep them forever, one. And secondly, when I'm done, I want to make sure that I can either sell them or give them to someone else versus just, creating more waste in the world. So really, this is going to be a long-term project, but it took us about 4 months top to bottom to declutter our 4,000 square foot home, and we got rid of everything that just like sentimental stuff. Even like the most important thing in our family is the 5 of us. Our health, our well-being is the most important thing. Okay, after that then you can kind of expand, okay, what are the things that you need to live a happy, functional, joyful life, and remove everything else, because everything has a price. It has a mental price. It's like a window open in your psyche, right? So get rid of those things. Number 4 is talk less and be more. Over talking, screaming, discussing things all the time, it creates a lot of phonetic energy in your household. And so make rituals and systems out of things that need to get done on a routinely basis, and then stop talking so much. I think this is a really big difference that I noticed. The difference between my Western life and my Eastern life. As many of you guys, I know, I went back and forth in my childhood to my parents' home country, and they spend a lot more time together, but it's a lot more calmer time and less talking. And here we tend to spend less time together, but it's like a lot of like talking, gossiping, sharing. And you have to keep in mind that 93% of communication is nonverbal. It's okay to be with someone with an open heart in the same room doing something without the need to constantly chit chat with them, right? It actually exhausts us because we've never done it this way. In fact, women evolved to talk so much and use so many words because it was a anxiety kind of adaptation. So for example, when women would get together in the afternoon and they would go gathering, they would have to keep talking to keep the prey away too. Because when women were out gathering, they weren't really necessarily scared of like the big prey that came out at night. It was more like the smaller prey, and they were able to keep them scared and kind of running off by talking to each other. So as a species, we women, we evolved to use a lot more words to say the same thing, because it was when we were anxious that there was prey around, we would talk a lot. That's why people who are anxious talk more, because they are in fight or flight. So it's that same mechanism. So when you're talking all the time, your body thinks you're anxious. So let yourself have silence. Let yourself just be once in a while. Just be, even just doing an activity with your child, like coloring or cooking something in the kitchen or cleaning up, without the constant need to give them instructions or correct them or fix them or whatever, So when we're quiet and we're just deeply breathing, it lets every cell in our body know that all is well, that there's no prey out there. We don't have to keep talking. It's fine. It's good. Okay. Number 5 is to stop the shiny object syndrome. And I know this might be a funny term to use here. So shiny object syndrome is this kind of experience of thinking that having this activity, putting my kids in this, doing that, buying them this, going to this vacation will make us happy. And all of these things are supposed to be the cherry on your already amazing life, right? But when you make these things the outcome or the goal, it can create a lot of stress and anxiety. I think that these days people are so overscheduled, their children are so overscheduled, there's too many child-centric activities that we have to do. It's ridiculous. We haven't evolved to do any of that, and we don't even have any data that this is supposed to be good. In fact, if you zoom out and actually look at other cultures and then this very hyperactivity culture of the United States, you'll realize that the data that we do have seems to show that it creates more anxiety because our children are not happier, right? They're more anxious than ever. The suicide rates are higher, depression rates are higher, anxiety rates are higher. So if all of these things are higher, then why are we doing something that we've never done before? We've never overscheduled our children's lives this much. In fact, in other cultures, I was sharing this with you in another video the other day, other cultures and Homo sapiens as a whole, we've never had child-centric activities. Children have been born into our world and then adapted into our culture, what the adults are doing, and that's how they've learned to be happy adults. But now that we've separated them from adults and we have all these childish activities that they're supposed to be doing, then we wonder why we have man-childs and grown-up women acting like children, because they don't know how to be like adults. They've never spent time doing adult things. They've spent time doing these artificial children type things. So be careful like what you hear and what you think your children need to be put in. It creates a lot of stress for you. And remember, stress ages you. It causes a lot of diseases. Like, this is serious stuff. Like, you know, putting yourself in these positions of being overscheduled and overstimulated and overhyped up, it could be taking away years off your life. And I'm not for that at all. So it's okay to have a calm, chill, happy life where you get to spend time with your loved ones doing the things that you each love without this hyper contrived like activities that you have to enroll in and pay for and then drive your children to. It's exhausting. So unless you really love it and it nourishes you on a deep level and nourishes your kids, do it. But if it doesn't, you don't need to do that. Other cultures don't. I'm just saying, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Our sponsors, BetterHelp, are linked below. Remember, if you use our link, you get 10% off. And if you haven't already, also sign up for my free container workbook, and that is linked in the description box. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.